po, ito po ang Sona ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. So, ating inabangan ang kanyang pagdating. So, salamat po sa may kapal at siya binigay ng Panginoon na bilang presidente ng Pilipinas after ng Pangulong Marcos more than 30 years. Ay siya ay binigay ng Panginoon na isang mabuting presidente. Dahil po sa mga after ng Marcos ay ang nangyari ay ang Cory Aquino ay umupo, ginagawa ang kanyang posisyon, walang ginawa kundi benta ang mga property ng government tulad ng PAL, Meralco at iba pa. Pati mga project ng Marcos ay hindi tinuloy dahil po ang kanilang ay pasariling interest lamang. So dito po kami sa Saudi Arabia, nanood kami, pati pandemic ay talagang nandun po ang kanyang malasangit at kami nakatanggap ng ayuda mula sa food allowance, food assistance at amelioration program na $200. Kami po ay nakatanggap. Salamat po sa Panginoon. Kahit hindi ganun kayaman ang Pilipinas, pero ang ating Pangulo ay kanyang puso tumulong sa mga Pilipino sa panahon ng pandemic. Dahil ng ibang bansa na amin nakausap dito ay ni 1 real ay wala silang naibigay. So, ayan, dumating na po ang kanyang chopper. So, ayan, abangan po natin kanyang speech.
Si Secretary Bautista ng DSWD, Secretary Lopez ng DTI, si Secretary Dar ng Department of Agriculture.
Nandyan din po si Secretary Luque, Secretary Berrio ng DOLE, si Secretary Galvez, ngayon din po si Cabsec Morales.
Ngayon lang ang panahon niya na pwede mong makausap ang Malacanang, ang kanyang mga staff tungkol sa mga hinaing ng bayan. At ngayon, nabubulgar na ang lahat ng kalokohan ng mga Kuwangko at Lopez sa pangkamkam ng na patuloy na panluloko sa taong bayan ng mga lider na mupo. Walang hindi ginawa kundi sila pa na mamuno sa mga drug lords, sa wedding lords na dapat pati narco general at dapat sila maglingkod sa bayan kundi sila pa ang gumagawa ng katarantaduhan. So mga kabayan, tayo po ay dapat magising na. Dapat mag-iboto ang mga taong ito. Dapat nga sa gobyerno, ang mga senator na walang mundigawa kundi magngaw-ngaw sa Senado, dapat yan kasuhan ng impeachment within the year kung walang proyekto. Sayang lang pinagbabayad sa kanila at kakampi pa ng mga ibang mga oligarchs.
Dahil yung results niyan, mga 2 to 3 days. Yung mga nagpa-rapid test kanina ay ang mga nandito po sa labas ng session hall.
So, papasok na po ng mismo sa plenary hall ang Pangulong Duterte. Again, hindi po natin susundin yung mga nakagawing tradisyon ng State of the Nation Address dahil napaka-unique ang Sona 2020 because of the pandemic of COVID-19.
Yes, and nabalik nga ito na this is a blended type of Sona rin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte. Please rise for the nation's prayer.
Makapangyarihang Allah.
Makapangyarihang Ama.
Makapangyarihang Ama. Makapangyarihang Ama. Mayroon ng langit at lupa. Magawa kayo ang lakas at kasamaan. Kayo naman ang Diyos na lubusang makakagin at ang inyong kapayapaan ay walang balik.
Buong pagpatakumbaba kami lumalapit at humihingi ng inyong kapatawaran sa aming mga pagkakasala sa isa't isa, sa aming pagwawalang bahala, sa kalikasan at sa iba pa ninyong mga nilikha.
Iluminin niyo kami ang aming mga karagatan at mga kagubatan, marapatin na muling nating paliwan ng inyong mga biyaya.
Sapagkat kayo ay patuloy na namamayani sa lahat, maging sa salot na aming kinatatakutan.
Tulungan ninyo kami na mahanap ang lunas sa laganap ng pagdurusa. Mangusap sa bawat puso namin, muling ipadama sa amin ang inyong pag-aadya.
Patatagin ninyo ang mga kumakalinga sa mga may sakit, ang mga patuloy na nangangailangan sa amin, at ipalaan at pagpalain ang mga tumutulong sa nangangailangan, nang sila ay patuloy na tumatalima sa inyong pag-iwaltig. Itinatalaga namin sa inyong patuloy ang aming Pangulo.
Mga namumuno sa pamahalaan at pribadong sektor,
Pagbuklo rin kami sa pagharap sa mga hamong darating.
Nang may pag-asa at katatagan ng pananampalataya.
sa dulot ninyong laya at tagumpay.
Sapagkat kayo ang aming dakila at ang aming Panginoon, at ang inyong kaharian ay walang hanggan. Ipinagkatiwala sa inyo ang aming bayan sa inyong pagmamahal. Hinihiling ang aming kaligtasan. Siya naman.
Please remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of Congress, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte.
Kindly.
Senate President Vicente Soto III and the honorable members of the Senate, House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano and the honorable members of the House of Representatives, Vice President Maria Leonor Robredo, former President Joseph Ejercito Estrada, Angulia Macapagal Arroyo, Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta, and the Justices of the Supreme Court, His Excellency Muntar Matud Salim Almantre, and the esteemed members of the Diplomatic Corps, Executive Secretary Salvador Medallia, and the members of the Cabinet, mga mahal kong kababayan. We live in a troubled time. A dream of prosperity for our country was suddenly snapped by a pandemic virulent virus. No nation was spared. Neither rich nor poor were exempt from the onslaught of this deadly disease. But let us not despair. The vaccine is around the corner. Sooner and not later, the virus that gobbled up thousands of lives will itself be laid to rest. In the meantime, let us express the nation's gratitude to those who courageously and willingly put their lives on the line to serve the people and country. We share the griefs of their families. No amount of tears can compensate their great losses. My countrymen, it is sad that when government focuses its attention resources to battle the coronavirus, there are those who take advantage of a preoccupied government. One of them is Senator Frank Dillon. In an interview, he arrogantly mentioned, among others, that oligarchs need not be rich. Then he linked the anti-dynasty system with oligarchy, and the topic was my daughter and son. This happened after the Committee of Franchise voted 70-11 to deny the grant of franchise to ABS-CBN. Obviously, he was defending the Lopezes, that they are not oligarchs. Great wealth enabled economic elites and corporations to influence public policy to their advantage. Media is a powerful tool in the hands of oligarchs like the Lopezes, who use their media outlets in their battles with political figures. I am a casualty of the Lopezes during the 2016 election. The dealers and purveyors of illegal drugs, hiding in the shadow of COVID-19, have stepped up their activities. The amount of shabu valued at millions of pesos seized during police operations speak volumes of the enormity and the weight of the problem that we bear. The corrupt, the grafters and the influence peddlers also take advantage of their fear and confusion that coronavirus generates the financial and material assistance of government to the unemployed, the sick and the destitute, running into billions of pesos, unspared from corruption and ineptitude. Even the donations for well-meaning private persons are skimmed before reaching their intended beneficiaries. It is like snatching food from the mouths of the babies. The profiteers, overpricers, and the corrupt felons must be laughing while they stash their dirty monies, but not for long. They cannot outrun the long arm of the law. In this regards, the words of former President Ramon Magsaysay ring fresh and relevant today, as the day they were said decades ago. He said, "We need men of integrity and faith like Rizal and Del Pilar, men of action like Bonifacio, men of inflexible patriotism like Mabini. We need their zeal, their self-reliance, and their capacity to work. Their devotion to service and their ability to lose themselves in the common cause of building a nation. If we allow greed and self-interest and ambition to rule us, then as stated by one prominent physician, we will be left with nothing better than the lesser evil instead of the greater good. In my inaugural address 4 years ago, I said that no leader can succeed at anything of national importance without significance unless he has the cooperation and support of the people he is tasked to lead and sworn to serve. The efforts and resources which he poured out produced the momentum needed to bring our country closer to our goals. Suffice it to say, we made significant strides over time. Over 4.3 million poor families benefited from the Pantawid Pamilya. Over 92.2 million beneficiaries received subsidies under the unconditional cash transfer program. We also made available tertiary education and universal health care. Public utility drivers were given assistance to the Pantawid Pasada. There are complaints that some drivers did not receive any assistance at all. I have directed the SWD and DILG to look into this. I welcome the passage of the law postponing the barangay and sangguniang kabataan elections. The postponement saved much needed government funds and ensured the implementation of projects under the current barangay officials. In the hindsight, it also saved us from holding the polls while we dealt and continued to deal with the pandemic. The Malasakit Centers Act has proven to be a great help to our less fortunate citizens needing medical services to one-stop platform in government hospitals. We commend the initiative and work of Senator Bongo in this regard, as well as other significant pieces of legislation as of today. There are 75 Malasakit centers serving Filipinos all over the country. These centers will be a great help in ensuring that our people remain healthy and resilient during these challenging times. The Salary and Standardization Law of 2019 increases the salaries of civilian government workers. I hope that this law will inspire our government workers to perform better and encourage young, brilliant citizens to join public service. I appreciate the law of establishing the National Academy of Sports. We can now give our deserving student athletes the training and the support they need to excel in their chosen field of endeavor. With the commitment of key members of Congress, the Executive Department, the FISGO, or the Philippine Sports Commission, and the Philippine Olympic Committee, we bound together with our ambition to host the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Our athletes prevailed. More than that, We fostered pride, patriotism, genuine sportsmanship, and camaraderie in our South Asian brothers and sisters. Indeed, we won as one. To our business community and the general public, we assure you that the landmark ease of doing business and efficient government service delivery act has been gaining momentum. We are closer to eliminating over-regulation in government services. Frontline processes, including consular services, processing of building and business permits, and the services of overseas Filipinos and seafarers were streamlined. Passports and driver's license validity were lengthened to ease the burden of the public. We received a PPP plus credit rating despite ASEAN credit rating downgrades and negative outlook revisions worldwide. The Japan Credit Rating Agency upgraded us from BBB plus to A minus last month. Meanwhile, Moody's has affirmed and maintained the country's ratings at BB2, Baa2 rather. Understand? Just with the light, I have mine eyesight is not as good as you. Our fiscal position is strong, our economic fiscal management prudent, and our banking system robust. We are in a better position to weather the crisis caused by COVID-19 global pandemic. We have accomplished significant infrastructure projects under the Build program. I will not dwell lengthily on the nitty-gritty of our infrastructure accomplishments. Now, lest I bore you. Instead, we will release a comprehensive written report of our collective milestones and the details of accomplishments that combine us, that perseverance, patience, determination will help us move forward even in the most difficult times. We issued last year the Executive Order number 100, establishing the Diversity and Inclusion Program as national program of the government. We want to end discrimination of persons on the basis of age, disability, ethnicities, sexual orientation, and gender identity and expression, and other character traits. My administration always believed that freedom from illegal drugs, terrorism, corruption, and criminality is itself a human right violation. Part of our efforts to uphold human rights is protection of the rights of children, the right against discrimination. Early last year, I signed Executive Order number 92, creating the National Council Against Child Labor. Government efforts to protect the rights of children will be amplified to prevent, reduce, and eliminate any form of child labor. Our achievements along this line who have been extolled by an overwhelming number of fellow member states in the UN Human Rights Council during its recently held 44th session last June. Rest assured that we will not dodge our obligation to fight for human rights. My countrymen, there are lessons to be learned from the coronavirus pandemic. It jolted us to realize that gains made after spending so much planning, effort, cost, and time could diminish considerably and quickly for reasons beyond one's anticipated. That it is much easier to destroy than build, that in a crisis of national proportion that affects every aspect of human life, government needs to have the support and cooperation of the people if it is to succeed in battling the cause of that crisis. That there are people who ask for compassion but show none themselves. That life, after all, is fickle like the weather. The gains we achieved for the first 3.5 years were put to a test when the pandemic suddenly struck the global community. While I am aware that the road towards a comfortable life would all be very easy if the pandemic had not occurred, and around the rest of the world we suffered. The global scale and socio-economic impact of COVID-19 pandemic has been unprecedented. Yet, in the throes of its global emergency, we have been able to withstand the headwinds generated by this coronavirus. In this regard, I would like to express my gratitude to all those who made possible the steady supply of food, water, basic utilities of our households. And the provisions of basic social services and financial assistance to our people. Our profound gratitude goes to everyone who helped keep our country's food supply chain running. The valiant soldiers, policemen, and security guards who kept peace and order in our community. The dedicated personnel of Qatar Essential Establishment operational. You showed us kindness and selflessness. You gave us strength. You risked your own lives to serve the greater good in keeping the Filipino spirit of Bayanina. I also thank the men and women of the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases and the National Task Force Against COVID-19 for all the countless hours spent to keep the pandemic in check and for all the efforts it made to ensure the safety of our people. Let me also recognize the efforts of the local government units that step up and initiated their own response measures to contain the effects of COVID-19 and its impact to their constituents impact its constituents. The shadow says it's a period. I know exactly the difficulties you are undergoing. I pray that the officials of each LGU in our country, from the barangay to the autonomous regions, would set aside partisan politics and selfish interest to do what is right and good for all. Likewise,